All right. Can you see me now? Live? Oh, it says 4 people already. What's up? Whenever you guys come on, leave a what's up, a hello, drop your name in the comments section. This is going to be our first virtual class. Pretty stoked about it. We're awesome at crushing things, so I'm sure we'll get better at this as it goes. So looking forward to everybody's feedback. If you see this link, if you could drop it in whatever other threads inside the buddies group where we've talked about this before, that would be great. All right, who's here? Coach Luke, what's up, sir? All right, let's give it a few minutes because we literally just dropped this link. In the future, we should be able to schedule the links as they come across. I'm pretty stoked about this. Everything seems to be working out pretty well. We're also going to be putting these inside of a members area, so you'll be able to see classes that you missed as we go. Again, super stoked about that. Yeah. The angle here. There you go. Love it. All right. Whoever else is on, leave a comment in the comment section. I see like several people in here. James, what's up, sir? Excited to have you here. All right. So currently, this stream, this version of stream seems to be one way where you guys can see me, but it's a little difficult to see you guys. Will be Tony. What's up, sir? So we'll be able to start at least this way, teaching class, and then go from there. All right. So I have my awesome assistant here who's going to be helping out. Claire.
Hi.
What up? All right, as we rock Butterfly Week, which I'm pretty stoked about. Wherever you are, again, leave a comment in the comment section below. Right now we're using YouTube, but we have another Rooms software that's opening up pretty quick that we'll actually be able to see you guys too, right? So if you have a technique that you wanted to, or a specific question with your partner or something, and show the way you're doing the technique, then you'll be able to share that as well. This is just the first iteration, but I'm pretty stoked about it. All right, leave it as you come in. Leave a comment in the comment section. I'll give another few moments before we get started showing some awesome technique, and be able to drill it together. All right. Again, if you, by the way, guys, we just dropped the link in Facebook, right, for our first session. So leave that link. Make sure send it to a friend, whoever, as we run our first test session. Nice. Love it. What up, Corbin? What up? Awesome. Stoked to see everybody popping on. All right. We're going to get started with the jiu-jitsu in just a minute, but before we do, just to catch everybody up. So recently, the U.S., well, the rest of the world really has been going through an interesting crisis. But just like we always say, our dreams don't take holidays at ACES, right? And neither do we, right? So the beautiful thing about technology and the beautiful thing about ACES Jiu-Jitsu Club is it will always find a way to keep training, always find a way to keep growing, to keep enjoying ourselves and being ACES, right? So I'm loving that. What up? I love it. I see the ACES chatting each other up in there. All right. Yes. So some people have been asking questions. While we wait a couple more seconds, one of the questions people have been asking is, are we going to be, as we develop this virtual program, are we going to be running classes during all the previous class times? The answer is yes, we are. right? So if you used to come at 6 a.m. classes, you're going to get 6 a.m. classes. If you used to come at 11 a.m. Muay Thai, you're going to get 11 a.m. Muay Thai. Noon Jiu Jitsu, then you're going to get that as well. And also for 5:30 kids classes are also going to be available. And we're pretty stoked about that. And so on and so forth throughout the day. So lots of different coaches who have been excited about volunteering their time and their bandwidth to be able to teach some dope classes. So I'm pretty stoked about that. Imad, what's up, brother? Coach Greg, what's up? Howdy right back at you. Let's give you that one. That's just for you, Coach Greg, right? I don't know if you saw that blink or not. What's up? Tuning in from work. I see you guys coming in. Love it. Excellent. All right, so a couple of quick things. We've been talking to members, and members have been asking, so how am I going to train in these scenarios? Right now, we're testing everything out with YouTube, which is pretty cool because whenever we wrap up each session, we're going to be putting it into a members site that you guys will have access to. So even if you missed a class, you'll be able to see what happened during class. So that's cool. Oh, what's up? Greg, you saw that. I love it. What's up? What's up, Gabe? What's up, sir? Mr. Gabriel. All right, so the important thing is that you have a lot of great opportunities, right? Previously, at the physical locations, you could pick all kind of different partners to train with, to roll with, all that kind of good stuff. Need TP? Ha! I hear you, brother. That's everybody. That's everybody. There's got some nice foliage outside in Austin. Previously, you could train with all kind of people. I would say this, because we're attempting to come in contact with less people right now while we figure this whole crisis out. Find yourself a good, consistent partner if you can, that will be able to either come to your place or you come to theirs, right? And you guys kind of have an agreement, right, that you're only going to pretty much be rolling with each other, not going to crazy open mats with lots of people and all that kind of good stuff, to be responsible, right, so that you can reduce your opportunity for exposure. If you have a roommate or a girlfriend or boyfriend or whoever, right, you know what, guys, if you're a member of ACES, you have access to the stream, then you'll be able to train with us pretty consistently. So let them in on the fun too. That being said, if you don't have access to anybody, then I would say a thing that's pretty important is the ability for you to be able to do solo drills. So you have questions about how do I do solo drills on that? Just ask me, right? And then we'll make it happen. Cole, what's up? Cody, what's up? Excited to get back to work. Love it up. Man, Tony. Oh, Tony, you're in quarantine. Oh, that's not cool, man. Feel better soon, buddy. I'll be showing you some drills on how to perform the techniques that we're talking about. So you shouldn't train with a partner right now, right? Way to take that seriously. Got you. I got you. Definitely showing solo drills. All right. So the subject of this month at ACES has been a hardcore focus on sweeps, which are really important because the previous month we're focusing a lot on guard passing. I'm a huge believer that your guard passing doesn't mean that much if you can't sweep well, right? Because if Claire, let's say it's right over here, if Claire is trying to pass my guard, right, but I sweep her, right? In this situation, if she doesn't know how to sweep me back, then she's in a really tough position, right? That's the end of the game. But if she knows how to sweep me appropriately, she'll be able to get back on her merry way with her guard passes, right? So let's chat about the importance of that. All right. And don't worry, Tony, I'm going to come back to your solo drills in just a minute. I think solo drills with this technique, whether you're in quarantine or not, are ridiculously important. And I noticed the lighting. We're going to be fixing the lighting too, guys. If you guys notice any things you guys want improved, remember, this is your club. So you're like, hey, let's fix this or that. Man, you're awesome. Good job. All right, actually turn that. I don't know, that kind of washed me out. Turn it off. Oh, that's good. That's great, actually. Perfect. Man, that's thank Luna for that one. All right. What up? All right, so here we are. I'd say one of the important things that a lot of people make a mistake around with the butterfly guard is they're using 2 hooks, right? This is one of the most common mistakes people make. Because I'm using 2 hooks and I'm kind of neutral right now, it's kind of difficult for me to be able to pick a direction and then make anything happen, right? I think I think that because of that, it becomes really important to make sure to pick a side. If I want to sweep Claire in this direction, that means my butt needs to be scooting out in this direction. Now, I notice a lot of people, when they're attempting to sweep people, they're like doing all this muscle move to try to like sweep them over, right? But the problem is, go back, if Claire decides that she wants to widen this near side knee out and even start to track me as I sweep, right, then it can become a little difficult. Another thing that can become difficult is when she just starts to solidify her base. Has anybody ever had that happen to them? They're trying to sweep somebody and the person is like, they're like, and they're just not moving. All right. So here's a dope little trick that you can employ to make sure you're able to sweep them anyway. And that's scooting backwards, right? When I say scooting backwards, let's change angle this way. All right. When I say scooting backwards, I'm scooting out, right? It's almost like I'm taking their back. And this allows me to be extra loaded onto her leg, which is pretty important, right? And now that since I'm scooting out in this direction, it allows me to be able to get on top and then get a nice sense of control. As you guys come up with questions, ask away. Coach Devin, some people have started to play my non-sweeping side. Any tips on forcing them back into my sweeping direction? All right, Coach Devin, that is a fantastic question. I think it's a great question for everybody, and especially a great question for upper belts, right? What Devin said. Yeah, absolutely. So let's go back. Let's right here, please. So the issue that Coach Devin is talking about is people attempting to play on your non-dominant side or the side you're not sweeping on in this situation, right? So let's say I've set up the same way that I was setting up before, and I want to sweep in this direction, right? And then Claire decides she doesn't want to go that way, and she pops up and starts to go behind me to take my back, right? Not my fave. So what do I do in this circumstance, right? One thing that I think is important to do inside this circumstance, when that person starts to get up, right? So first of all, notice that I have a good bite on her posture, right? It makes it difficult for her to be able to do that. So remember, whenever we're defending something, it's how do I stop it from happening first, right? And when I have a good bite on her posture, even when she starts to stand up, right? Start standing up and start getting off my leg, it starts to turn it on. But sometimes you don't have the bite clean enough yet. If you're in a gi scenario, you grab that belt and then the person tries to stand up, boom, right? And then I'm already starting to open up into that position as well, right, to stop them. Now, there is that middle tier situation, right, which is like, let's say we're no gi. I don't quite have my underhook yet, and I don't have a connection. And for whatever reason, she's like, I'm going to try to get under you. This is one of those times where I have a few different options, right? So she starts trying to, she probably want to put her hands on my knees, right? And then start to pop up. Boom. That's when I'm going to go for my arm drag, Devin, right? There's option number 1. Option number 2 is going to be one that Coach Scooby really likes, right? Because now in this situation, she's going to just change our position a little bit, right? And you're going to start to pass in that direction. Boom, right? Keep passing. Boom. And I'm going to start to send my legs up in order to open up my leg and like clear her body, right? So again, as she's coming in this direction, I catch this far leg right now. And as I catch this far leg, I send myself out. Keep passing. Boom. And I come back into guard. Does that make sense? That's one way to be able to get her in that middle position when they're starting to escape. If they're appropriately popping up, you can always stand up as well. Does that make sense? Do you have any follow-up questions on that, Devin, or anybody else? Good question. So Devin, Coach Devin says, invert back into butterfly, or is that a leg entanglement? Yes, that is that's inverting into the butterfly. In fact, I taught a technique. I'm gonna look on our YouTube channel real quick. On our YouTube channel, I taught a technique exactly like this. How to perform this technique. Aces, Jiu Jitsu Hub. We've made a lot of techniques for you guys, by the way, inside of our channel, but we're actually starting a new members only area for all of our new videos, so that's going to be pretty dope. But anyway, that being said, yes, it is a butterfly. I believe there is a video I made called a inverted, let me see what, inverted half guard sweep, and it's similar to that. I'm actually getting the link for you right now, and I'm going to drop it inside the page. Boom. All right, there you go. Coach Devin, right? The component from this inverted half guard sweep, whoa, I was a brown belt back when I taught that one, right? Is essentially when somebody is attempting to come in that direction, right? You are inverting to make the sweep happen. The difference here for this situation is instead of inverting to make the sweep happen, I'm inverting to catch that far leg. So as she will just start the pass and start consistently moving the same, boom, I've caught her leg. Now that I've caught her leg, hey, I'm already around the back. And I'm able to invert off of that near side leg, which is pretty important, right? Seems like the main hook switches to the other leg on the inversion. Sweet. I'm glad you appreciate that. All right, so let's talk about some drills. I know Tony was talking about drills that he can do in quarantine, right? There's two of them that I really want to go over right now. The first one has to do with completing an effective butterfly, which I feel like a lot of people make some missteps around. And when completing this butterfly, if I did it by myself, right? Look, I already have this hook live, right? So it's important that you have that live as well, right? And even when drilling, boom, I'm scooting myself out. I'm shrugging my shoulders and I'm pinching my shoulders back so I can make sure I have like a really strong sweep. I know this is like a small detail, but as I'm coming up, look, I'm on my shoulder and then I'm dropping, right? Dropping, right? So when I'm picking them up with this hook, right, the important thing to do is to pick them up and then turn my hips, and now they have dropped, right? This I'd say is like a really important concept to making this work. You do that drill and really focus on those components, and you'll notice you improve a good bit. There's another thing that I think is important if you can do with a teammate, and that is an inversion drill. So if you stand up right here, wide-legged, right? Now, this is a drill that you can do with your partners, right? When I was really coming up in the inverted game, this is a drill that I would play fairly often. And this drill, it's always interesting when you have somebody shorter than you that you're working this drill on, right? But the idea, here, let's step this way. Wider legs, right? The idea inside of this drill is that you're exchanging hooks, right? So as I'm not asking you to stay grounded and still. Right now you feel like you're gonna fall over. You should stay grounded. Okay. All right. So the beauty of this one is that when I'm on the inside, I'm going to pivot. Boom. Right? And to make my exchange to come around her body. Right? You can continue to make these all the way around. You can make these in figure eights, right? And there's all different kinds. But the issue is that you have to make sure that you maintain connection at all times. Boop. Now, I think I missed some questions. All right. Straight speaking my language. I knew Coach James would love those inversions. All right. That drill right there, by the way, is a drill that you can do in my journey to get better at using an inverted game. I've dedicated hours to that drill, like where I've had a partner and we just invert and find different ways to invert for 30 minutes, right? Each, right? We're doing like 5 minutes and then 5 minutes and then 5 minutes and 5 minutes. Do it for 6 rounds and you will start to notice opportunities to invert that you never saw before, right? Really what it has to do is, how do I maintain connection while moving? How do I find connection, right? New connections, right? What are connections? For me, one of the things I found is like the inside of people's thighs, the inside of their groins, and the inside of their knees, right? Are great places to start when utilizing a connection for hooks. What, Tony? All right, so lift the hip at the same time as putting the shoulder on the ground, or does one come before the other? I'm guessing, Tony, that you're talking about a butterfly sweep. So I'm going to head back to that real quick. So again, when I'm here inside of this position, right, and let me make sure I understand your question better. When to pick which? Good question, Alvin. I'll be there in just a second. So lift the hip at the same time as putting the shoulder on the ground, or does one come before the other? All right, so Tony, to answer your question, when you are sweeping, using the butterfly sweep, the angle, right, between my thigh and my upper body should stay the same, right? So when I'm lifting somebody, it's not like I'm gonna like lift and then turn, right? If I do that, then I'm just gonna lose them, right? I'm gonna completely break the strength of the angle. The strength that I've created in this angle right here, right, is that my abs and my core are flexing right now. So when I rock backwards, they're coming up, right? And now, by the way, now that I'm right here, my hips are just barely on the ground. Most of my contact right now is actually on my shoulder and my bicep, my tricep. Right now, as I'm here, it's shifting onto my shoulder. My hip's not on. My hip barely ever even touched the ground. Right, and now I've turned. Right. If you want to make this a really good drill, then make sure you land with both knees facing down. Right, and then come back up very quickly. Right. All right. That's a really good question, Tony. All right. Ty, what's up? Yeah, let Dr. Trent know. All right. Alvin, tornado sweep versus guard retention when inverted. When to pick which? All right. So I want to back this up because that's a really good strategic question. Tony, that's correct. Yes, it is important to maintain the shape of the movement that it started in, right? Which is super, super, super important, right? Because that is where all your tension lives, right? As soon as you open up the angle and change it, you're releasing the tension, which means the person can start to sit back and come back into a posture that is supported and strong for them. It's not going to be great for you, right? But I know you got this one. So go back to Alvin's, right? Guard retention when inverted. I think guard retention is an interesting concept, right? Because the question is like, when do you decide to retain your guard versus the sweep? I'm guessing that's the deeper meaning of Alvin's question, right? Whether it's a tornado sweep or any other sweep that's involved when you're inverting or otherwise. Is that pretty correct, Alvin? Right? In that case, I would say this. I think it's really important to commit to your sweeps. Do not halfway do sweeps. If you halfway perform a sweep, the mistake that you could make is that you could accidentally help somebody pass your guard, right? So it's important that you are all in on those until I think they are about 50 to 75% past, right? When they're 50 or 75% past your guard, then if you choose to play from the guard, then it's time for you to start building the guard back up, right? When I say building the guard back up, I'm just going to use an example, right? So let's say Claire I'm attempting to pass the guard. She's attempting to sweep me for whatever reason, right? And now she's trying to make this sweep work. Grab that elbow or sleeve. There you go, right? And she's trying to make this sweep work, but I pop up. Any of our guys do this before. Boom, and they start to get inside and make a pass. Or I'm standing and she has an inside hook, and perhaps she might even starting to invert, right? Inside of this situation, as soon as she feels like she's losing connection, right? She needs to go back to guard, boom, right? And then start to work whatever her next attack is, right? I think that is a better strategy. And that's going to serve you, if I understand that question correctly, right? Man, those are all great questions, right? I love this. I feel like we're going to be able to give a lot of a pseudo group private sessions here inside of these sessions as we grow. I'm excited. There's some other cool widgets that I'm going to be able to add to this. Like you can see me, I can see you, and you can do some hand raises and some other kind of cool stuff. That being said, and you'll also be able to share some other types of videos of issues that you're dealing with. Another thing that we're planning on bringing, side note, is bringing my breakdowns of competition matches at a high level, right? Which is we'll be able to actually kind of watch those together, where I stop it, slow it down, all that kind of good stuff, go backwards, and maybe even circle hey, I think this is important, that is important, all that kind of good stuff, which is just another cool thing we're going to be adding for ACEs to be able to keep you growing, not just physically, but mentally as we go. Coach Luke, what up? Thanks, man. Glad you love it. Coach James, Scooby, how do you deal with people who hip switch mid butterfly sweep? I've gotten to the point where I'm having to switch multiple directions and I still lose the sweep. Any suggestions? Yeah, that's a great question. And that's something that kind of happens at a higher level that can kind of jack you up, right? When somebody switches hips, right, one way or the other to beat your hook, right? Sometimes that can look, that can look all different kind of ways, right? For me to boom, right? To switch my hip, right? In one direction or the other. And this can really throw people off who are attempting to perform sweeps, right? So how do you overcome that, right? In that situation, actually, let's switch real quick. So I'll be the one performing the sweep. You're up and behind me. All right. So in this situation, when I have a connection and she attempts to, this is where that whole shin to shin guard starts to come in. She starts to switch her hip. Which way would you switch it? You switch it probably that way. Nope. Turn your hips that. There you go. Boom. Right. And then I would start to X her leg, right, in order to get some kind of sense of control. That's one way if their leg is in range, right? If I'm trying to make this sweep happen, right, and I'm attempting, and then she switches her hip to try to, let's say, step the other leg and pass in the opposite direction, right? So start passing in the opposite direction. Yep, keep going. Just move your leg. There you go. Excellent. This is one of those situations that can happen. Let's go back. All right. So, again, in this situation, When that person starts to switch that leg, you can start to pull them, hike them up over your head, right? So she starts to switch, boom, right? In order to bring them around. This is a lot easier with the gi on, but it can also be done no gi as well. And whenever you have a hard time getting control of somebody's lapel and you're switching into no gi, start thinking of how you can arm drag that person inside of that scenario, in that situation. Hope that answers that, right? Because honestly, Coach Scooby, that's an entire class in itself, right? How to deal with that. Okay. Tony, great, got it. Chris Jaimes, glad you love it. Ty, welcome, Chris, what's up? All right, Coach Greg, in the event that an opponent is able to keep away from your hips and butterfly, would you prefer to go into X or De La Riva, gi and no gi? All right, so Coach Greg's asking a really good question, right? Well, I missed something. Haha, DeAndre. I don't know where that is. I'll figure it out later. What about A3 brown belts who used to break? Okay, all right, cool. Yeah. Let's talk about A3 brown belts who used to break dance. All right, that's funny. All right, so Coach Greg, in the event that an opponent is able to keep away from my hips in a butterfly guard and like back up, I prefer personally to build an X guard. I think De La Riva, honestly, is more useful in the gi, although reverse De La Riva is more useful in no gi, I think. But I think that X guard is a great variant opportunity that works in both, right? I think it works both ways, right? So let's talk about how I like to build an X guard inside of that situation. All right. So the issue is I'm trying to build a butterfly sweep, and Claire has decided to like stay away from it, right? So she gets control of both knees, right? She starts to send her legs away, right? I'm in a problem, right? You'll notice oftentimes that I will grab your belt in order to bring you back in, right? And in order to build that up even further, I'll get a connection to the hip, boom, right? So that I can start to build something up, right? I'm grabbing the center of the belt and pulling that person in. Coach Greg, I'm telling you, use this when it's money. I think you're going to love it, right? Now that I'm here, it'll be easy. Do me a favor and don't fall over, right? Just hold stable in all your positions, right? Stay standing, right? In this situation, right? It's easier for me to get underneath their hips when I have some kind of connection. You're about to fall. So there you go. Right? Right? So I can start to build that X. That's why I'm such a huge fan of that. Let's talk about no gi for a second now. Right? So when Claire comes back and she postures up and away from my legs, right? I have a couple of opportunities that I'm a huge fan of. And you know what? Some people might call some of these dirty. Coach Greg, it depends on how you feel about it. But I will 100% start going back and forth and attacking your arms. Right? How's that feel? What is happening? It's armbar. You're getting armbarred if you want to hold on to that. Right? Where I'm putting my hand on that far shoulder and I'm starting to set up my arm drag, and whether it's to open up the elbow or whether it's to attempt to actually make that armbar work if they hold on tight, right? And I'm gonna pivot back and forth between the arm, boom, and the neck, right? And then the arm, and then the neck, right? To go back and forth between those. And now inside of those, I have noticed at a high level that black belts don't see the guard build up coming, right? They see the checkers of arm, neck, because they grew up on that. But what they don't often see is me setting up, scooting forward each time so that I can get closer and closer to my X guard, right? And because you're kind of convoluting the playing field. Did that answer that question effectively? for you? Hopefully it did. Tony, you talked about the belt grab and the competition seminar to reduce space. Yeah, absolutely, Tony. That's fantastic. Big thanks to Claire for being the uke. Yeah, everybody give a big hand for Claire. There you go. When you're switching between arm and neck, how does that build the guard? Good question, Tony. All right, so when each time that I'm building on these, let's say I'm grabbing on her shoulder as she's passing. As she passes, she has to go that way. She has to come in closer to my body. Boom, and then I get the head. In order for her to get her head out, she has to look up and bring her hips in. Boom, and I'm already underneath, setting this one hook, which means I can set my other hook, right? Which means, boom, I can make that sweep happen. So each time, each interval between the arm drag and the choke, I'm making slight scoops to get my butt more and more into the person. And when you grab their shoulder, they kind of have to pass into you in a way, which can be difficult. Hip hop algorithm for love it. Excellent, Coach Greg. Thank you, sir. Glad it helped. Coach Allen, I've been playing with attacking the underhook arm with 2-on-1 and sit up to single leg and nogi. Can you go over a general concept of sitting up to takedowns? Sitting up to takedowns, right? I want to make sure what kind of choke is the neck grab. I'm going for guillotines, by the way, Tony. Those are guillotines right there. I'm not a huge fan. If you try to collar choke somebody in that position, they're just going to hip in and big chest out, and then they're going to be largely out of there, right? So one of my faves is that guillotine. You notice I'm just kind of smacking their head into the pocket. My pleasure. All right. So back to Alvin's question, right? I'm playing with attacking the underhook arm with a 2-on-1 and then sit up to single leg. All right. I think I know what you're talking about now. All right. All right. So what I think you're talking about, let's come back down your knees. What I think you're talking about, so the underhooked arm. So that means that you are attempting to hit a 2-on-1 on this inside underhook arm, loop chokes. Scooby, Coach Scooby, I would say you can go for loop chokes in this situation, but I think you're going to lose your timing. By the time you turn that loop choke on, I think it can be a bit of an issue. I don't think it's horrible, right? I just don't know if it's as good an opportunity in my mind as a guillotine, right? But go for that one. Try that and get back to me. Let me know how that works for you, right? So, Alvin, to make sure I'm understanding you correctly, you're going to 2-on-1 the arm that you're underhooking. Is that what you're saying? That's what I'm reading. And when you 2-on-1 that, and then they stand up, all right? You are going for a single leg. I don't have the underhook, but my 2-on-1 prevents the other person from getting theirs. All right. So real quick, Alvin, are you trying to get the 2-on-1 on the near side closer to the camera or the far side that's farther away from the camera in the situation we're talking about right now? I'll give you a moment to type while I look at some of the other comments. Cool. Coach James, this makes sense. It has a harder time turning on unless they pass. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that loop choke, if somebody is savvy about that loop choke and they decide that they're committed to not passing and to like deconstructing it live, then you're right. It is difficult to turn those on. I have people try to use loop chokes on me all the time. Because I do wrestle through a lot of my passes and they think that it's available, and it's so rare that it ever happens. It's super, super rare. And I get to maintain my posture and position. Hey, Alvin, did you ever get to that answer I had? Was it the near side underhook, the near side arm closer to the camera, or the far side arm that you are 2-on-1-ing. This is why, by the way, these more intricate questions is why we're gonna have some new widgets available where you'll be able to show me your camera too, right? And I'm pretty stoked about that. All right, and Joseph, what's up? How you doing, Joe? All right, it's interesting. I get to see everybody's like YouTube names right as we come in. Some some of them are your real names, and some of them I immediately know who you are from automotive marketing or whoever, some other interesting names, like a Russian. All right, so Alvin, I have a certain variation of an arm drag usually, and the other person either progresses the pass without the underhook, and I'll take the back of the person, would posture up and expose a single leg. Hey, Alvin, can you do me a favor? Can you make a video of the exact question that you're asking? I'm excited to kind of see you explain that situation so that I can give a nice answer. And you know what? I'll make a video about it and put it inside of the buddies page. So why don't you like make that video question, post it in the buddies page and tag me in it, and then I'll make sure to make a video response. Oh, you'll find a link. Love it. All right, Tony, I keep getting wizard when I'm trying to enter in a butterfly sweep. How do I prevent it? Ha! Gabriel says draw a cartoon. All right, just make sure you film it while you draw it. It'll make a great ad. Right. All right. So, all right. So you keep getting wizard when you're trying to enter into the butterfly sweep. All right. So it sounds like you're getting wizard because you must be doing the underhook right inside of the situation. One way to stop yourself from getting legitimately wizard, this happens when my elbow is kind of on the inside of my leg. It doesn't feel good already, right? Claire's not nearly as strong as me, and she was cranking that wizard on, and past a certain point, like, it's her arm now, right? So one thing to do is let's you like go for just a hair, right? My arm is just across the center line of my thigh, right? It's not on the inside where I can get wizard, and it's also not on the too far on the outside where they can like clamp me into my own body. I like to keep my elbow nice and tight here into the center, so it's difficult for her to wizard me, and it makes it easier for everything when she tries to wizard me, right? I start to scoot out, right? Boom, there I go for my guillotine or for my sweep. So Tony, to make sure I really punctuate this point, make sure you keep your elbow in the middle of your thigh and then scoot out for your life when they try to wizard you that way, and don't stop scooting until you've swept him in the direction of the leg that you were attacking, right? So they kind of fall into position. All right, James, that's my fave butterfly sweep. I don't ever try to go for that deep underhook. Okay. All right, you guys are just chatting each other up. Cool. All right, I love it. All right, guys. So this has been a really awesome first session, answering questions and teaching some technique. I'm excited to hear about ways that we can improve this as it goes. Normally, we create a syllabus for you guys, and we share it with the coaches. And week to week so that they can kind of release different information. But now that we are, we're in the situation that we're in, it's inspiring us to come up with new ideas to reach out, to serve, to train, and a whole host of other stuff. I think that that sometimes crises can be the mother of invention, right? Because that's how we as humans figure out ways to overcome our situations. So as we overcome the situation together, you're going to see us create and develop a lot of new cool stuff. But we couldn't do it without you guys, right? So the intention is still to serve. We'll just be doing it virtually. Reach out, be like, hey, I wish we had this. I wish we had that. What are some other ways? I and none of the coaches are gonna. Some of the things we can do, and some we won't be able to do immediately. Some might take a little longer, but I think it's important that everybody understands that this is still the same club. The people are Aces Jiu Jitsu Club. Was that like Thor? Aces Jiu Jitsu Club is a people, right? Not a place, right? So it's I think it's important for everybody to remember that, and to remember that no matter what the situation holds, we're gonna find a way always to be able to train, whether it's solo, whether it's one person, whether it's with 3 people, but no more than 10. No more than 10, right? As we go. I'm excited to show some of the stuff to you guys. But again, I can't punctuate enough. A bunch of the cool stuff about Aces is not just because I thought something up. I was fortunate to be able to found the team and committed to committing my life and time, and along with the other coaches, to serving the team. But it's our teammates who've come up with some of our best ideas. Hey, I wish we had this. I wish we had that. Hey, I wish we'd had a seminar with this person or that person. I wish we had a 6 a.m. class. I wish we had a location in this area. You know, all that kind of good stuff. So as we as we continue to figure that stuff out, take part. It is your club, right? I'm gonna catch up with some of these very productive live stream. Can't wait to see what's next. Me too, brother. Coach Luke, thanks for your awesome techniques and session. Thank you. Agree with that. Thanks, Coach Ty. Obstacles do create growth. I totally agree. Yeah, Coach Joe, very informative. Happy to help, sir. Coach Scooby, I'm glad you enjoyed. Tony, I'm glad you found it valuable as well. I know you can feel stir crazy sometimes. We're also, side note, going to be having jiu-jitsu workout sessions as well. Some of the types of workouts that I have enjoyed using when getting ready for a competition. Someone grabbed your cones. Yeah, someone did grab my cones. Right. Good eye, sir. Man, he's super meta. We'll start hiding stuff in the live stream, right, to see who sees what gets moved, right? Anyway, I appreciate all you guys. Let's keep the conversation going inside of the Aces Buddies page. If you see this video and you're not currently a part of it, it's the Aces BJJ Buddies. You should be able to see it. Just request to join, and then somebody will confirm you're a member, and then let you in. Right. Besides that, you guys, love and appreciate you. Keep training, keep growing. Os.